My name is Elena, and I am 34 years old. When I look back now, the beginning of this story feels soft. Not bright, not exciting, just quiet and warm, like light coming through a small window in the morning. At that time, my life was simple. I lived alone in a small apartment with white walls and one green plant by the window. Every morning I made coffee in the same old cup. I opened the window. I let the air come in. I watched people walk to work below. Life felt calm, but it also felt empty. I was not unhappy, but I was alone. And loneliness has a strange feeling. It does not scream. It just sits quietly beside you and waits. That was when he came into my life. He was not loud. He did not try to impress me. He spoke in a soft voice and looked at me when I talked. When he smiled, it felt real. When he listened, it felt like he truly cared. Being with him felt easy. Like sitting down after a long walk. For the first time in a long time, I felt seen. I did not feel special because of big words or gifts. I felt special because he noticed small things. He remembered how I liked my coffee. He asked about my day. He looked at me like I mattered. Love did not come like a storm. It came like a quiet morning, and I trusted it. At first, we lived inside small moments. We sent messages in the morning. We talked before sleeping. Sometimes we did not even say much. We just stayed on the phone, breathing together. Even silence felt warm. I started to smile more. I walked lighter. The world looked softer. Slowly, my life began to change shape. I used to make plans for myself. Trepis, goals, dreams. But now, every plan had his name inside it. If I thought about the future, he was there. If I imagined happiness, he was there. He became my safe place. I did not notice when this happened. I only knew that one day I did not feel alone anymore. I felt chosen. But love can be dangerous when it becomes your whole world. At first, nothing felt wrong. Then little things started to change. His replies came later. His voice sounded tired. Sometimes when we were together, his eyes looked far away. I told myself it was nothing. Everyone gets busy. Everyone gets tired. So I tried harder. I sent longer messages. I asked more questions. I waited. Love slowly turned into waiting, and waiting slowly turned into fear. I stopped talking about what I needed. If I felt sad, I stayed quiet. If I felt lonely, I smiled. If something hurt, I told myself it was okay. I was afraid that if I spoke, he would leave. So I became smaller. I became softer, quieter, easier. I thought that was love. But love should not make you disappear. One day, he did not message. I waited. But one day became two. Two became many. New fight. No goodbye. No last words. Just silence. And suddenly, he was gone. My house felt empty. My phone felt heavy. Every memory hurt. I asked myself again and again, what did I do wrong? Love had left and I was alone. Again. After he disappeared, time did not heal me fast. People love to say, you will be okay. But the truth is, healing does not arrive like a miracle. It arrives like a slow morning. At first, I did not feel strong. I felt tired. My name is Elena, and I was 34 years old. But inside, I felt like a child who had been left behind in a quiet place. Some days I could not eat. Some nights I stared at the ceiling until my eyes burned. I kept thinking the same question again and again. Why was I not enough? And the hardest part was not the heartbreak. The hardest part was the silence. No explanation. No goodbye. No final sentence to close the door. Just nothing. The first weeks were heavy. I would wake up and feel that painful truth before my eyes were even open. He was gone ago, and my life still had to continue. I cried in small places, in the bathroom, in the kitchen, on the edge of the bed while my phone lay face down like a dead thing. Sometimes I held my own hands like I was trying to comfort myself. Sometimes I whispered, "Please, just stop hurting." But pain does not stop because you beg it. It stops when you survive it long enough. One morning, I noticed something strange. The sky looked blue. Not because my life was perfect, not because the world became kind, but because I was still here. I made coffee again, not to feel happy, just to feel normal. I opened the window. Air came in, and for the first time in a long time, my chest did not feel like it was breaking. It was still painful, but I could breathe. Broken to breathing. That was the beginning. Healing did not make me louder. It made me clearer. I started to see myself the way I had not seen myself before. I realized how much I had changed for him, how careful I became, how small I became, how I learned to hide my needs so I would not be too much. I thought I was being loving, but I was also disappearing. So I began to return to myself slowly. I cleaned my apartment like I was cleaning my heart. I moved things around. I threw away little memories that held too much weight. Old receipts, DO receipts, old notes, old photos that made my stomach tighten. I stopped checking my phone every few minutes. At first, it felt impossible. My fingers would reach for it like a habit, like a hunger. But I started to pause. I started to ask myself, what am I looking for? And the answer was always the same. Hope, a message, a regret, a sign that I mattered. But I began to understand something painful and powerful. If someone truly values you, you do not have to chase proof. I began to walk more. Not for fitness, not for a goal. Just to remember, I was a person with legs, with direction, with a life. I started to sleep earlier. I started to eat better. I started to take care of my body like it was not an afterthought. And slowly, I became calmer. Not because I forgot him, but because I was finally learning my worth. Needing love, to deserving love. Months passed. I will not pretend it was easy. There were still nights when the memories returned like waves. There were still songs I could not listen to. Still places I avoided. But something inside me changed. My apartment started to feel warm again. I bought a new plant and put it by the window. I changed my curtains. I played soft music while I cooked. I began to enjoy my own company in a way I never had before. I did not feel empty anymore. I felt steady. And the biggest change was this. I stopped waiting. I stopped waking up with hope in my throat and fear in my stomach. I stopped living like my life would only begin again if he returned. My heart felt safe. Not because someone was holding it, but because I was waiting to living. That was peace. And then it happened. One normal evening, my phone lit up. A name I had not seen in a long time. For a second, I could not breathe. My hands went cold. My mind went back to the old days so fast, it felt like time folded. The message was simple. Too simple? Something like, "Hi, Elena. I've been thinking about you." My heart reacted before my brain did. It beat fast. It shook. Like an old wound waking up. I stared at the screen, and I felt two emotions fighting inside me. One part of me was still that woman who waited, the woman who would have answered in 1 second, but another part of me stood up quietly. The new part, the part that had learned to breathe alone, wound open again. I agreed to meet him, not because I wanted him back, but because I needed closure. When I saw him, he looked familiar, but different. His face was the same, but his energy was not. He smiled the way he used to, but his smile was tired. He spoke softly, like he was afraid. He? Saiji Heroes. Sorry? He said he was confused back then. He said he made a mistake. He told me life had not been good without me. He told me he missed my kindness, my calm, my warmth. And as he spoke, something strange happened. I did not feel flattered. I felt clear. Clear, because I could finally see the truth. He did not come back because he suddenly understood love. He came back because he felt lonely. He came back because he missed being cared for. And I remembered who I used to be with him. I remembered how I would hold my feelings inside, how I would smile when I was hurting, how I would take the smallest pieces of love and call it enough. I looked at him and I could see his regret, but I could also see his weakness. And for the first time, I understood he did not break me because he was powerful. He broke me because I was giving my heart to someone who did not know how to hold it. Who he is versus who I became. He asked for another chance. Not with big drama, not with tears. Just that quiet request. Can we try again? A long time ago, that sentence would have felt like a miracle. But now, it felt like a test. I stayed quiet for a moment. I could feel the old Elena inside me. The one who wanted love so badly, she would accept pain. But I could also feel the new Elena, the one who survived the silence, the one who rebuilt herself. And I realized something. If I said yes, I might lose myself again. And I had worked too hard to become whole. So I spoke gently. I did not shout. I did not accuse. I did not bring a long list of his mistakes. I just said the truth. I cared about you. I really did. But you left without a word. And I can't go back to the woman I was. He looked at me like he did not understand, like he thought love should be easy to restart. But love is not a light switch. Trust is not a door you can close and open whenever you want. I took a breath and said, I forgive you, but I'm not coming back. Not because I hated him, but because I loved myself, holding on to letting go. When I left that meeting, the night air felt cold on my skin, but inside, I felt warm. Not excited, not proud, just peaceful. I walked slowly, like I was walking out of an old life, and something inside me felt light, because the truth was, the past did not control me anymore. He was no longer the center of my story. He was just, chapter. And I finally understood what real love should feel like. It should not make you smaller. It should not make you silent. It should not make you afraid. Real love feels safe. And if another person cannot give you that, you can still give it to yourself. I am Elena. I am 34 years old, and this is what I learned. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is not, I miss you. It is zeta feliz. I choose me. Love that hurts. To love that heals.